A towering apartment building. Early in the morning, 7:30. The warm sun shines into the living room through the huge amounts of floor-to-ceiling windows, and the white floor reflects a little light. Lee Buffon sat on the sofa in the living room and muttered, "System? System? If you are, make a sound. Don't be rascal, the agreed time is up, hey, grass." Lee Buffon, he is not from this world, he comes from the earth, he came quite early, he came 18 years ago. Whether it's the earth or the world, Lee Buffon doesn't care. Because in both worlds, he is a child with no father or mother. Anyway, he lives on his own. What does it matter where he lives? The two lives are human and their identities have changed. Originally, Lee Buffon thought that he had just come to a parallel world similar to the Earth, but 3 years ago, an extremely accidental hero saved the beauty, and his worldview changed drastically. The person he saved was called Wanda Maximoff. That's right, Scarlet Witch. Until then, he didn't know that this world was not ordinary at all, it was the damn Marvel world. Lee Buffon panicked instantly. You know, the Marvel world, for ordinary people, can be said to be hell, all kinds of villains, all kinds of ruining things. Even if there are those superheroes, it is not safe at all. Didn't Thanos wipe out half of humanity with just a snap of his fingers? Lee Buffon has no long objects, how to ensure that he is not half destroyed? The ultimate big boss like Thanos doesn't mention it. If you encounter a villain or a superhero fight with a villain, if you have bad luck, you may want to GG. When gods fight, mortals suffer. System. If you want to help yourself, there is only the system. But damn it, Lee Buffon came to this world for 18 years. Roar called the system at least 180,000 times, but nothing happened. Until 3 days ago, the system finally responded, and Lee Buffon was almost not moved to cry. Still very angry. Why is it so late? System. Because the host is underage, the real-life red envelope extraction system can only be parasitic on adults. It can only be turned on after the host has passed its 18th birthday. Lee Buffon. Where does the F***king setting come from here? After 3 long days of waiting, today is Lee Buffon's 18th birthday. After 12 o'clock in the morning, he couldn't sleep with excitement and was full of expectations. Until now, the system still hasn't responded. Lee Buffon felt like he was going to explode. At this moment, Lee Buffon's mind suddenly trembled. He was overjoyed. Coming. After this mental fluctuation, a real-world map suddenly appeared in Lee Buffon's mind. With him as the center and a radius of 1,000 meters, all the scenes within 1,000 meters were presented in his mind. He can also zoom the real map according to his own mind. This is simply installing a smart software similar to Gaud's map into his brain, which is very powerful and convenient. Lee Buffon's eyes brightened. Hey, waiting for the whole night, not in vain, the system is produced, it must be a boutique. While happy, Lee Buffon found that there was a red dot on the real map. He immediately zoomed in on the position of the red dot, not elsewhere, but on the shower in his bathroom. The system's rapid voice suddenly sounded. Ding. Congratulations to the host. The real-life map has been opened, and the real-life red envelope extraction system is waiting to be activated. Warning. The host must press the start button within 3 seconds. Once the timeout expires, the system will be shut down permanently. Warning. This is not a joke. 3 seconds. He only has 3 seconds, and if he misses it, he will regret it for life. Snapped. Lee Buffon breathed a sigh of relief. System. Ding. Congratulations to the host, you have completed the opening task. The real-life red envelope extraction system is now being opened. It will take about 15 minutes, please wait patiently for the host. This time, finally, it's coming. In response to that sentence, the system may be late, but it will never be absent. There are still 15 minutes, and the system matters first. The top priority is how to solve this small problem at hand. 3 years ago, Wanda was bullied by a group of gangsters. Lee Buffon beat the gangsters and rescued Wanda with his good skills. When Wanda's identity was confirmed, Lee Buffon's mood was broken. Damn it. God knows what happened. The chaos magic with one hand is so terrible that it can even single-handed Thanos' Wanda. Will he be bullied by a group of gangsters? Forget it. This is not the point. The fact is that many people have seen the group of gangsters bullying Wanda, taking photos of that group of people's lewdness, shivering, and dare not do anything. Only he took the initiative to win Wanda's favor. In the following 3 years of getting along, perhaps the two were orphans and sympathized with each other, and their relationship deepened day by day. Up to now, Wanda has loved Lee Buffon to the extreme. If she leaves Lee Buffon, she will go violently and destroy the world in an instant. Although the relationship was deep, the two did not take the last step. The reason is also very simple. 3 years ago, Li Bufan was only 15 years old and he was still under adulthood. For Li Bufan, who was a human for 2 generations, his age was not a problem at all, he should be mentally mature. What's more, his body matured early. But for Wanda, he is willing to compromise, but now, this is not a special situation. Wanda blushed, and said, "Don't hurry out." "Oh, sorry. Li Bufan was embarrassed and quickly explained, "Wanda, I didn't mean it." Wanda deliberately scowled and said, "Uncommon, then how do you explain the present?" "Wipe. Omei won't be angry anymore, right?" Li Bufan immediately extended his deepest regards to the system. "You give the task, I have no problem. What task can you give it?" Facing Wanda's question, Li Bufan initiated a brainstorm. "There is it." Li Bufan's eyes rolled and said, "Wanda, after today, I will be 18 years old, hee. You promised me." Pissed. Wanda couldn't help but laughed. Irritatingly white Li Bufan glanced at Li Bufan. "You little villain. I'll talk about it another day, but not today, hurry up and get out." Finally passed. Li Bufan said, "But Wanda, you know me, I absolutely respect your ideas, if you are not ready, I will never force you. I apologize for my rash actions, sorry." "Do not." Wanda stretched out his right hand and gently pressed it on Li Bufan's mouth, and said tenderly, "No need to apologize, never need, my little man. I am not ready, but I am not angry, let alone apologize. Because you are my man, you saved me, understand?" Li Bufan was stunned for a moment, because Wanda's eye circles were slightly red, apparently thinking of the time when the two of them had spent the past few years together. There have been difficulties and sorrows, but the two hearts are always together and never separated. Snuggling for warmth, that's probably the case. Li Bufan had no other thoughts in his mind, just a lot of emotion. She came into this world without a family member. Wanda thought she saved her, but in fact, what she didn't know was that she had saved him and saved a lonely soul. With her, Li Bufan has roots in this world. With her, Li Bufan no longer wanders in this world. At this point, Li Bufan smiled slightly and said, "Daughter-in-law, don't say that, I saved you, but you also saved me." Young married woman. Wanda knows that this is the nickname for his wife in her lover's hometown. She likes this name very much, and it contains Bufan's deep love for herself. Sweet little villain. Wanda turned white. Li Bufan glanced at him and said, "I know what you mean. I have to go to work today. You will be late too. If you are deducted by the school again, I can't save you. Bath, eat, and then go to school, you know? Happy birthday. Work time is coming soon, and you will definitely be late if you don't go out." Wanda didn't have time to talk sweetly to her man, and said a few words, put on clothes quickly, put on simple makeup, and hurried out, heading for Zhongcheng High School. Wanda is 20 years old and works as an internship assistant in Midtown High School. He is still in the 3-month internship period. Whether he can stay or not depends on his performance in the last month. Li Bufan also studied at Midtown High School. This is the last year. The reason why Wanda went to Midtown High School to apply is entirely because of him, and for him, there are 2 options next. He can continue his studies and enter a good university, or he can directly enter the society and find a job. In China, most people who work after high school are basically helpless choices because they can't pass the university entrance examination. The Beacon country is different. Many excellent high school students do not go to university and work directly. How should Li Bufan choose? It used to be a step-by-step process, and I'll talk about it after college, but now it's different. Let's take a look at what this real-life red envelope extraction system is. 15 minutes later, the system officially started. Sizzle, it was like a burst of electric current hitting his mind, and a huge amount of information emerged in Li Bufan's mind. The system information he understands is as follows. First of all, the so-called real-life red envelope draw means that the system will start the real-life red envelope activity every once in a while. With the start time, the position where he is standing is the center of the circle, and there will be many red envelopes within a certain range around it. Secondly, red envelopes are divided into 7 levels, namely, B, A, S, SSS, Demigod, God, and Ancestor. The higher the level, the higher the rewards for the items in the red envelope. Such as, B-level red envelopes, according to the systematic explanation, if defined according to the strength of the Marvel heroes, it is basically a dragon set level. A-level red envelopes, this is considered an elite level. S-level red envelopes are already hero level, goodbye. Third, There are many kinds of red envelopes. There are ordinary red envelopes, which can be obtained by clicking, and there are also task red envelopes, which can only be obtained by completing the tasks issued by the system. Fourth, the rewarded items are mainly divided into two categories. One is ordinary items, such as steel battle suit, and the other is special items, such as Chakra Oyii, which is a teaching book for the operation of chakra in Naruto world. For Lee Bufon, this is not a book, but a skill that can be mastered in an instant. As long as you obtain it, you will be able to immediately master the secrets of chakra operation. Fifth, and most importantly, how to upgrade. There are 7 red envelopes with the lowest level B. All ghosts know that B-level items are rubbish, and they have not seen the definition of the system. Dragon set level. What a joke. Suddenly passing through, although it was not my intention, now that he has passed through, Lee Bufon can't be satisfied, just being a passerby. How can he not fall into the name of a passerby? Well, in fact, this is all imaginary. This is the Marvel world. Spicy supervillain Marvel who is about to destroy the world at every turn. Life-saving is the key. Anyone who wants to save their lives and control their own destiny is unreliable. They can only improve their own strength as much as possible. According to the system prompts, if you want to upgrade, you need to complete 1 to 3 ultimate tasks, sometimes once, sometimes 3 times. The trick is whether it is once or 3 times. He has no authority to know before completing the previous ultimate task. Now, he didn't even have the right to know the ultimate mission of upgrading from B level to A level. Damn permission dog. Having said that, Lee Bufon, who received all the information, ticked the corner of his mouth and couldn't help laughing. Real-life red envelopes? It's really an interesting system. After a short pause, Lee Bufon looked forward to the system. Isn't there a novice gift package at the beginning? System. Yes. Really, system. Excuse me, the host, do you receive the novice gift package immediately? Nonsense. Now is the best time for him to cook. Don't use it at this time, keep it for the new year. Lee Bufon did not hesitation and said, receive. System. Ding. Newbie gift packs are being distributed, please start receiving them. Red envelope 1 to 100 * 100 * 100 red envelope space, unit. Meter, remarks. Only soulless items can be stored, and subsequent items will be directly distributed to the red envelope space. Red packet 2. The top hacking technique. Red packet 3. God level singing voice and singing skills. Red packet 4. Wing Chun, Zochin. Red envelope 5. Bulletproof suit, casual style. Messages flashed through Lee Bufon's mind quickly. With a thought, all the items appeared in the red envelope space. He quickly scanned it, but he was taken aback. For example, Wing Chun. The message is below. Name. Wing Chun, Chinese martial arts quality, B-level 2nd class. World. Ip Man, category, special items, skills. It was a blue book with the word, Wing Chun, written on the title page. According to the system, as long as you browse this book yourself, you can immediately practice Wing Chun to Zochin. Lee Bufon did not have any hesitation, and quickly browsed through it. It's really browsing, just flip it, and after a few seconds, all the moves of Wing Chun flashed through his mind, and he did it all at once. Wonderful. Lee Bufon's eyes brightened and he whistled happily. Bulletproof suit, casual style, not bad, put it on. Hacking technique. Take over. In an instant, Lee Bufon mastered computer skills that many people would not be able to master even if they exhausted their entire lives. Finally, the song God. What the hell is this? This is Marvel. What use do I want this skill to do? Could it be possible that I was forced to dance and kill Ronin just like Xingju's tease? Forget it. Don't hold yourself down if you have too much skill. Take over. Ding. Congratulations to the host, you have reached the level of an S-rank singer. Ding. Congratulations to the host, you have reached the level of a great god-level singer. Ding. Congratulations to the host, you have reached the level of a heavenly singer. Ding. Congratulations to the host, you are now the god of song. Lee Bufon smiled. Try it. Nothing else, the highest note of Qinghai Tibet Plateau came right away. If it was before, it would have been broken, but now, I can sing it easily without any pressure. Cool. Lee Bufon whistled again. At this time. System. Beep. Congratulations to the host. The first B-level red envelope drawing operation is about to begin. It will last 72 hours, that is, 3 days. After 3 days, all red packets will disappear. Please be prepared for the host. That arrives so fast. Okay. Li Bufan smiled. Today Monday, he is still in class, but compared with red envelopes, class is obviously not a problem. Buzz, buzz, buzz. A three-dimensional real-world map appeared in Li Bufan's mind. With him as the center, a circle with a radius of 1,000 meters is not just a street, but 1,000 meters from the sky and 1,000 meters below the ground, which is an exaggeration. You know, human beings are only in the exploratory stage of 1,000 meters underground. In the real map, there is only one red dot. Every time a real red envelope is drawn, definitely cannot have only one red envelope, just like upgrading the red envelope. Only by obtaining this red envelope can you receive the second one. The red dot is not far from Li Bufan, which is the Lao Wang restaurant more than 100 meters away. It is a Chinatown with many Chinese. Lao Wang restaurant, the owner is a native of Gansu, and mainly deals in noodles. Lanzhou ramen is a must-have. The taste is extremely authentic. It is also Li Bufan's favorite. I will take Wanda to the restaurant every other day, making Wanda fall in love with *** delicacies. Li Bufan got dressed and went downstairs quickly. Time waits for no one. Although 3 days are not short, all red envelopes will disappear after the time has passed. The most regrettable thing is not to lose, but that he doesn't even know what he has lost. He was in a hurry, but unfortunately, a phone call came, and the man said that he had come downstairs and asked to meet Li Bufan. Li Bufan was helpless, but this person had to meet, because his name was Pietro Maximov, Wanda's twin brother and his eldest uncle. In the comic setting, Quicksilver was born 30 seconds later than Wanda, but in the Marvel Universe film and television, the setting was changed, which also made Li Bufan sure that he came to the film and television world of the Marvel Universe, not the comic world. Fortunately in misfortune. If it is really a comic, Li Bufan may not be able to survive even if he has the system. It is very simple, he may not have time to grow up. The comic book Marvel is so messy that I can hardly think about it. I won't talk about all kinds of villains. Even a decent villain may become a villain. Wanda lost control of his spirit and killed the world in an instant. How terrible it was. 5 minutes later, the hustle and bustle of Chinatown. Lao Wang restaurant. A red dining table near the window and 2 benches are very unique. Li Bufan and Quicksilver, Pietro sit opposite each other. Counter. A chubby middle-aged man smiled at Li Bufan and said, "Why don't your kid go to school? Don't be too long-winded. Knowledge is the kingly way these days, otherwise you can only serve the plate like my kid." This middle-aged man is the owner of the restaurant Wang Dahu, and he is called Lao Wang by others. He also has a son and a girl who are in their 20s. He has no chance to study and can't find a good job, so he can only go to the restaurant to help. A family of 4 runs a restaurant. The business is very hot, and it is too busy, so 6 more people are invited. Li Bufan smiled and said, "Pharaoh, your family is not living well. Your restaurant has not made less money in a year, and those who go to work don't make much money than you." A trace of complacency flashed across Wang Dahu's face, and he waved his hand and said, "What, all he makes is hard money. What do you eat today? Or the same? Where is your friend? He can't get used to our food." Wang Dahu stopped asking, and rushed to the kitchen back. "Second son, a bowl of Lanzhou ramen, put more peppers and coriander, table number 12. "Okay." Inside, Wang Dahu's son responded honestly. Li Bufan swept his gaze toward the southeast corner, where there were 4 burly men, 2 blacks and 2 whites. Immediately afterwards, Li Bufan's mouth twitched. Pete. Because, when his gaze swept over the 4 men, one of the white men's right face suddenly flashed red, and a golden red envelope appeared with 5 words, "Fan, I have a red envelope," on it. This is really real scene extraction, but is it too funny? Hello. Hello. Pietro's face was full of frost, and he knocked his fist twice on the red table. He was very dissatisfied and said, "I have something to tell you, you can be serious." Li Bufan said, "Pietro, what do you want to say? I don't have much time. If you have something to talk about, you can make a long story short, okay?" "Boy. This is how you talk to me." Pietro's eyes widened and gritted his teeth. "I'm rude brat, if it wasn't for my sister's face, I would have fixed you." I know. Li Bufan waved his hand casually, did not take Pietro's threat seriously, and continued, "What's the matter? Let's talk about it." Pietro roared, took a deep breath and suppressed the anger in his heart. Although he wanted to smash this bastard boy, he knew he would never do it, because he knew the weight of this boy in Wanda's heart. If he really did that, no one knew whether Wanda would run away. Hateful. This guy is so annoying, and he doesn't know what his sister is interested in. He just let this kid catch a chance and show off in front of his sister. Your time is precious, my time is more precious than you. Pietro said quickly, so, let's not talk nonsense, this is the last time, leave my sister. Lee Buffon shrugged and said speechlessly, please, Pietro, be mature. You said the same last time. Asshole. Pietro's face blushed and gritted his teeth and said, this is really the last time, I didn't tell you before. It was because I and Wanda wanted to live a peaceful life, but it's impossible now. That guy has already found it, he wants us to go back. That guy? Lee Buffon frowned and said in secret, is it Magneto? A trace of panic flashed in Pietro's eyes, staring at Lee Buffon, and said, boy, do you think you really know Wanda? No, you don't even know. You don't even know what kind of world this is. However, this is not important, the important thing is that we are not a person of the world at all. Some time ago, you should have heard about the rumors of monster wars in the suburbs of Los Angeles. What did the government say? Helicopter collisions? Oh, and video evidence. You must think so too, right? Pietro was mocking, as if looking at a fool. Lee Buffon's mouth twitched. I think it's a ghost, hell, that's Hulk fighting with hatred. I really thought I didn't know anything. Pietro unexpectedly came to the showdown this time, and Lee Buffon wanted to showdown too. Forget it. It's better to keep a low profile before becoming absolutely strong. Early development is the kingly way. Although Pietro said it was a showdown this time, he could see that he still had some scruples. He didn't fully confess everything. He mocked for a while. He continued, if you don't leave Wanda again, you will definitely die. Although Wanda won't die, she will do what she doesn't want to do because of you. So, leave Wanda. Whether it is for you or for Wanda, it is the best choice. Even if you don't think about yourself, you should consider Wanda. Do you really want to let Wanda do things that she doesn't like doing because of yourself? Lee Buffon shook his head and said flatly, no. Huh? Did this bastard get the hang of it? Pietro was overjoyed and said, so you are leaving Wanda? Lee Buffon. How is it possible? Pietro. Pete. What the hell? Do you really tease me, and what's the matter with your look like an idiot? Pietro gritted his teeth angrily. Smelly boy. You are provoking the limit of my endurance. You don't think that with Wanda, you can really be so presumptuous to me, right? Lee Buffon said, Pietro, you are also provoking my limits. Since today is the last time you said this, then I will reply to you for the last time impossible. It is impossible to leave Wanda, it will be in my life. Impossible. I can only rely on Wanda to eat soft meals and barely live. Pietro. Lee Buffon made a joke, his expression suddenly became serious, and said indifferently, Pietro, I will never leave Wanda, and at the same time, I will never allow anyone to force Wanda to do things she doesn't like or want to do. If anyone dares to do this, I will let him know how to write the word regret. Pietro was taken aback and looked at Lee Buffon in surprise. This kid. At this moment, he felt an unprecedented domineering aura from Lee Buffon, not the kind of arrogant dominance, but the gentleness like a spring breeze. I said, you can't. He has only felt this kind of warmth and dominance like a spring breeze, and that person is Professor X. Pietro shivered all over. Crazy. He felt like he was crazy, and he would associate this kid with Professor X. Who is Professor X? That is Magneto's lifelong enemy, the supergod in Mutant. This kid is pretending to be coercive and talking big. Thinking of this, Pietro was even more annoyed, and said with a look of disgust, asshole, your kid doesn't know what he's talking about. I'll say it again, you and my sister, we are not in the same world at all, and don't want to die. Lee Buffon yawned and interrupted, Pietro, don't talk about the chariots, can it be done? One sentence back and forth repeatedly, you are not annoying, my ears are all calluses. Do you still have something to do? I have something to do. After that, Lee Buffon got up and walked towards the four men. Pietro dumbfounded. Soon, it was on fire. This bastard who doesn't know the heights of the sky, dare to talk to himself like this. Hey, wait. What does he want to do? Don't you want to do what Justice Messenger was like 3 years ago? Haha. Brat, you stepped on a nail this time. Those four guys are not ordinary people, they all have snake tattoos on their necks. Not wrong, those four men belong to the Viper Gang. The venomous Snake Gang, a gang entrenched in Queens, has only gathered up in the last 2 months. Now, of the four guys, 2 had eaten, and the other 2 poured their meals directly on the ground, obviously looking for faults. Seeing what the situation is now, Pietro laughed, staring at Lee Buffon interestingly, and secretly said, the kid who hasn't left the ivory tower, you will know right away, we are not a world person at all. Meaning. There was already a picture of Lee Buffon being beaten by those 4 guys in his mind. The kid had no choice but to beg himself to do it. That's cool. Pietro kept his eyes on, looking forward to it more and more. Boom. With a crisp sound, a white man with a face of Eastern Europe slammed the bowl to the ground and yelled, F***K. What the hell is this? It's terrible. Boss. The black man beside the white man pointed to the Lanzhou ramen scattered on the ground and exaggeratedly shouted, Flies. Damn, there are 3 flies in this bowl. It's so unhygienic. The white leader was even more annoyed. He grabbed Wang Dahu by the collar and roared angrily, F***K. F***K. Damn yellow monkeys, what do you do for business? Wang Dahu was born with thick eyebrows, a simple and honest character, and shouted, You slander our restaurant. I brought the ramen personally. It is absolutely clean and hygienic. You put the flies in by yourself. You want to blackmail. Blackmail. The white leader narrowed his eyes, and said with a negative smile, Yellow monkey. This word is good, we are here to blackmail. What do you want to do? Wang Dahu flushed with anger. I want to call the police. Boom. The white leader slammed Wang Dahu's face with a punch, and directly knocked Wang Dahu into the air. The restaurant suddenly turned over and the guests fled out one after another. Wang Dahu's wife, son, and daughter were trembling with fright. The huge restaurant was bustling and very noisy the moment before. It has become deserted at this moment. Even the staff employed by Wang Dahu ran away when the situation was not good. There are only 4 of Lao Wang's family, plus Pietro who is watching the show and Lee Buffon who is ready to shoot. For the time being, the attention of the 4 members of the Viper Gang was on Wang Dahu's family of 4. No one paid attention to them. The white leader stepped on Wang Dahu's chest and laughed wildly. Yellow monkey, what did you just say? Call the police? Do you think the police can help you? Tell you, this uncle is named Wilson, the Viper Gang, even if you call the police, so what? If the police can help you for a while, can you still help you? The police are gone during the day, uncle come again at night, will you call the police again? Wang Dahu was dumbfounded, it really is. The white leader arrogantly said, Stupid yellow-skinned monkey. Tell you, starting this month, your restaurant belongs to our Viper Gang. Every month our Viper Gang sends people to check the accounts, and you must hand over 80% of the profit. Impossible. Wang Dahu was anxious. Originally, he wanted to compromise and pay the protection fee every month, but he didn't expect the Viper Gang to do such a great job. Not only did it collect protection fees, but it actually wanted to collect 80% of the profit. Then they would give it to the Viper Gang. Work to earn a living. Then open a fart restaurant? It doesn't matter if you don't open it. Gia. The white leader gave a weird smile and jerked his feet. Wang Dahu screamed. It seems that you are asking for money but not life. You are worthy of being a yellow-skinned monkey. Money is more important than life. Wang Dahu's wife ran out and knelt in front of the white leader, begging. Uncle, we were wrong. Whatever you say, we will do it all. Please don't hurt our head of the house. The white leader smiled and said, It's pretty much the same, but you're not lying to me, want to delay time? Wang Dahu's wife was taken aback, it really is. Just now, Wang Dahu's family wanted to understand that the Viper Gang had already been eyeing them. It was impossible for this restaurant to open anymore. As long as they passed this level first, then they would slip away. Unexpectedly, this guy saw through. Don't dare, don't dare. Gia. The white leader gave another weird smile and sneered. You yellow-skinned monkeys are very cunning. Don't think I don't know what you think. That girl temporarily lives in our Viper Gang, as long as you cooperate obediently, she will be fine. He was talking about Wang Dahu's daughter, Wang Xiaochui, who looked very ordinary but had a good figure and was already 21 years old. What? Wang Xiaochui was dumbfounded and hid behind her brother. The white boss is full of lewd faces. Wang Dahu shouted, Beast. What do you want to do? Call the police immediately. Wang Dahu's wife kept kowtow and started crying. Uncle, we must cooperate obediently, please let my daughter go. I beg you, please. F***K. The white leader said impatiently, Smith, what are you still stupefied? Go and get that girl over. He, good boss. Snapped. At this moment, Lee Buffon slapped the white leader's right cheek. Crisp and neat. All 4 of the Viper Gang were dumbfounded, and the Wang Dahu family of 4 were dumbfounded. Lee Buffon didn't care, as if he was all right. Ding. Congratulations to the host, get a mission red envelope. Ding. Task. At noon on the day of hoeing, sweat drips into the soil. Who knows that the Chinese food on the plate is hard work? It is shameful to waste. Even if you order Lanzhou ramen, you have to eat it even if you kneel down. After that, the host must ask the snake to help the four to finish all the ramen. Ding. Mission reward. Super Soldier Genetic Modification Liquid. There is no penalty for mission failure. Li Bufan glanced at the Lanzhou ramen scattered all over the place, and the corner of his mouth twitched. I like this task. F*K. The white leader's eyes were burning. He stared at Li Bufan fiercely, gritted his teeth and said, "You damn yellow monkey, you are looking for death." Snapped. Before the white leader finished speaking, Li Bufan made another move, without leaving any hands. A Wing Chun fist hit the white leader's throat. The white leader was instantly overturned and fell heavily. All four of Wang Dahu's family were stunned. Wang Dahu looked at Li Bufan in surprise, and said in shock, "Xiao Li, you?" Li Bufan smiled slightly, helped Wang Dahu up, and said, "Pharaoh, you stand back and leave the rest to me. You have to be careful. This group of people is hard to deal with. Wang Dahu will be suspicious." Li Bufan waved his hand and signaled Wang Dahu to be relieved. This kid, Pietro, who was watching the play, was also dumbfounded. I originally thought that Li Bufan would be beaten up by the Viper Gang, but I didn't expect that this kid would be the first to take the trouble, and I didn't expect this kid to look weak and still understand Kung Fu. Yes, it is Kung Fu. The quintessence of the country. The white boss was beaten by Li Bufan's Wing Chun boxing. He lost his face and roared, F*K. I'm going to kill you. Kill this kid. Huh. The three Viper Gang members immediately showed their weapons and 3 daggers glowing with cold. Pietro reminded, "Boy, those guys have weapons, don't be careless." Li Bufan smiled faintly, "I know. Yellow monkey, go to death." A black man with a hideous face took a dagger and pierced Li Bufan's chest. Li Bufan turned sideways and avoided it smartly. It was a counterattack, hitting the black wrist. The black screamed, his wrists numb, and the dagger fell instantly. Li Bufan took advantage of the victory and chased him with his right hand into a fist, hitting the black temple with a heavy hammer. Boom. With a muffled noise, the black man flew out, hit the wall hard, and fainted directly. This series of actions was like running clouds and flowing water. Within 2 seconds before and after, the member of the Viper Gang was GG. The remaining 2 members of the Viper Gang were terrified, knowing that this time they encountered a tough stubble, and they didn't dare to make any big claims. The 2 cooperated and killed Li Bufan from 2 directions respectively. 3 seconds later, in Li Bufan's dazzling blow, both of them vomited blood and fell heavily to the ground. Pietro was completely amazed. Damn it. This kid is not embroidered with fists, but really F*King hard. When was he so good? Careful. Pietro reminded him again, but it was too late, because when Li Bufan knocked over the 3 Viper Gang, the white leader had already drawn his gun and aimed it at Li Bufan's head. "Do not move." The white leader yelled nervously, his gun hands trembling. Li Bufan was as calm as a mountain, looking at the white boss with a smile but a smile. "You have a gun in your hand, and there should be bullets in the gun. It's still facing my head at the moment, so. What are you nervous about?" F*K. The white leader yelled, "Yes, why are you nervous? What if this damn yellow-skinned monkey's kung fu is good? I have a gun. Damn yellow-skinned monkey. You got into trouble, you got into trouble. This uncle belongs to the Viper Gang, the Viper Gang." Li Bufan smiled. "Oh, this sentence is also for you. Your Viper Gang has also provoked people who shouldn't be offended. The white leader thinks this yellow-skinned monkey must be crazy, knowing that he belongs to the Viper Gang, he dares to be so arrogant. F*K. Kneel down. I count 3 times. If you don't kneel down for this uncle, you will die." Li Bufan shrugged and smiled. "Don't make it so troublesome, you can shoot now. Guess, can you hit it?" The white leader was speechless. This yellow-skinned monkey is a lunatic. Do normal people dare to play like this? Pietro also felt that Li Bufan was playing with fire, and said, "Hey boy, don't think that you are great if you have skill. No matter how good your skill is, you can't resist bullets." He wasn't worried at all. Even if Li Bufan couldn't stop him, there was still him. "He is Quicksilver." Li Bufan smiled and said, "Shoot. Why, don't you dare to shoot." F*K. The white leader was completely angered by Li Bufan's contempt, and roared, "Go to hell." Boom. The gunshot sounded, but at the moment the gunshot sounded, Li Buffon's head could not be avoided. Patro was surprised. His speed is very fast, his eyes are faster, otherwise the speed is lifted up, and he can't see anything at all, that is, the headless fly. Therefore, he can clearly see the trajectory of the bullet. The bullet flew past Li Buffon's brain. Maybe only 1 centimeter. Do not. Only 0.5 millimeters. Pietro was shocked. Is this kid a lunatic, or is he absolutely sure of his own strength? Next moment. Li Buffon had already bullied herself closer, and his expression became extremely cold. You really dare to shoot. Click. While speaking, Li Buffon shot with lightning, hitting his throat first, and when the white leader bends down, he hit his knees again, causing 2 crisp noises. The white leader's 2 knees actually shattered in an instant. Ah! The white leader screamed like a pig. With frost on his face, Li Buffon took the white leader's pistol by lightning and aimed it at the white leader's head. The situation reversed. Now, the little life of the white leader is in Li Buffon's hands. As long as he gently pulls the trigger, the white leader will return to the west. No. In the face of the threat of death, the white leader was completely intimidated, ignoring the sore knee pain, and begged in horror, "Don't kill me. I was wrong. I apologize to you. Please, do not kill me." Idiot. Li Buffon looked disgusted, and said coldly, "Didn't your mother teach you that you can't waste food?" The white boss is dumbfounded. The others were all dumbfounded. What the hell? Did you act because I was wasting food? The white leader silently glanced at the Lanzhou ramen scattered on the ground. Oh, there were 3 flies he added inside. The white leader cautiously said, "Heroes, heroes, what do you mean?" Li Buffon said coldly, "What should I do? Do I still need me to teach you? If you want to survive, I eat up all the ramen on the ground." Damn it. It really is. The white boss has a shit expression on his face. This is really self-inflicted and cannot live, but in order to survive, bear it. Okay. I must eat them all clean. The white leader crawled on the ground, enduring the nausea, and ate all the ramen on the ground clean, for fear that Li Buffon would regret it. Not only did he eat 3 flies, he even licked the ground again. It was so clean that it couldn't be cleaned anymore. Patro, who was on the side, had a nausea, and almost didn't spit out the overnight meal, and gave Li Buffon a dissatisfied look. This kid has a terrible character, right? After the white boss finished everything, he looked at Li Buffon flatly, and Li Buffon said lightly, "Get out of here." Well. The other 2 members of the Viper Gang, one carrying the white leader and the other carrying a fainting companion, also fled and left the restaurant. Wang Dahu's family of 4 is still full of palpitations. Little Li. Wang Dahu is like not knowing Li Buffon. This little guy, he is just a high school student. Why has he suddenly become a super expert? Li Buffon smiled and said, "Pharaoh, the matter has been resolved." Wang Dahu shook his head and said, "Not yet, Xiao Li. Although you beat them away, they are just 4 young people from the Viper Gang. The Viper Gang will definitely get revenge. Hey, this restaurant can't go on." "Don't worry." Li Buffon smiled and said, "I haven't eaten enough of your Lanzhou ramen. Today is a day off. It will open tomorrow as usual. Tonight you should be able to see the news of the destruction of the Viper Gang." Wang Dahu was shocked. He thought Li Buffon was going to single out the Viper Gang, and said nervously, "Xiao Li, don't do stupid things. If this restaurant is gone, it will be gone. Just open it somewhere else, but your life, if it's gone, then it's all gone." "Pharaoh, what do you think? How could I single out the Viper Gang?" Li Buffon smiled, glanced at Pietro, and said, "But I have a very good friend. He has a good reputation in New York. Even the government sells his face. He will help the poisonous snake tonight." "Friend? Don't you say so?" Pietro was so speechless that he didn't expect this kid to stare at him. "Never mind. Anyway, Magneto found their brothers and sisters, and it is impossible to hide them in New York. Maybe their brothers and sisters are about to start fleeing, just as a gift to this kid before they leave. Kung Fu Kid, don't get too proud, otherwise you will die one day." Pietro left these words and decisively left the restaurant, following the 4 little snakes from the Viper Gang, preparing to bring the vipers to the pot. Wang Dahu will be skeptical, but there is still a glimmer of hope. Just like Xiao Li said, close the door for a day and watch tomorrow's news, hoping that a miracle will happen. After all, this restaurant was opened with great difficulty. If he had to, how could he give up easily? After Pietro left, Li Buffon also left and went to a boutique across the street. A system voice came from my mind. "Ding. Congratulations to the host. The task has been completed, and the task reward has been distributed to the red envelope space. Please check the host. With a flash of thought, Li Bufan scanned the red envelope space. As expected, there was an extra bottle of red potion, about 30 milliliters. The attributes are as follows. Item: Super Warrior Genetic Modification Liquid. Attribute: Ordinary items quality: B level high, grade, medium, high. World: Star Empire. Use: direct injection, 3 minutes to complete the transformation. F*K. Is there any mistake? This level of item is actually only B level high level? Li Bufan quickly browsed the attributes of the item and was shocked. There is no other reason. This item comes from Interstellar Empire. What kind of world the Interstellar Empire is, Li Bufan doesn't know, and doesn't need to know. He only needs to know what the Super Warrior Genetic Modification Liquid is. According to the information given by the system, this thing is to enhance the combat effectiveness of fighters in the Interstellar Empire. The effect is very explosive. Even if it compares with the Super Warrior Serum injected by Captain America, it's not much better. It may be a little weaker. As a result, this thing is actually only B grade. How fierce is that God grade item? Absolutely more terrifying than the Marvel world, the so-called evil gods and gods, right? Li Bufan exclaimed. Hello, sir, do you want to see this shirt? At this time, a blonde shopping guide stepped forward and asked, but Li Bufan stopped in front of a row of shirt racks for too long, which caught the attention of the shopping guide, thinking he wanted to buy a shirt. Oh, yes. Li Bufan smiled slightly. The shopping guide took a few shirts and smiled. The fitting room is here, please follow me. Li Bufan followed the shopping guide to a fitting room, took a red and blue plaid shirt, walked into the fitting room, threw the shirt aside, took out the Super Soldier Genetic Modification solution from the red envelope space and injected it directly. Hiss. Li Bufan frowned, and immediately after the injection, he felt an indescribable pain, and every cell in his body seemed to burn. He can clearly feel every change in his skin, and he can more clearly feel that every cell of his own is being transformed. Are all strong. Pain and happiness. 3 minutes later, the pain was finally over and the transformation was completely completed. Li Bufan felt like an ancient beast lived in his body, possessing infinite power. He even felt that his various qualities had reached the pinnacle of ordinary humans. Cool. The corner of Li Bufan's mouth twitched, he couldn't help whistling, and then took off his clothes all over, leaving only a pair of short pants. Then, I saw the explosion. Wearing clothes is nothing, that is to say, the body feels heavier than before, but when you take off your clothes, the visual impact will come. Although the body remains the same, it hasn't become 5 big and 3 thick, but the edges and corners on the body are like rock carvings. Especially the 9-pack abs and the perfect mermaid line, releasing a thrilling charm. Tisk. Li Bufan smiled and squinted. Let's try it. He stood upright, like a javelin, and then his whole body leaned straight forward, using only one index finger in each of his left and right hands. Under such impact, not only did the index finger bear it, but there was no pain at all. Roar. Roar sucked smoothly, and he quickly did 100 push-ups. It's easy and stress-free, come again. With a smile at the corner of Li Bufan's mouth, he suddenly lifted his left hand, and used his right index finger to do push-ups alone. Another 100. Then he slapped the palm of his right hand on the ground, and he finished changing hands in an instant. 100 more. There was still no pressure. Li Bufan didn't even sweat a single drop. A total of 300 push-ups took less than 3 minutes. In other words, he had one index finger and 100 push-ups, not even a minute. This physical fitness is strong enough to explode. At this moment, the beautiful shopping guide waited for a long time, worried that Li Bufan might have a problem, so he opened the curtain of the fitting room and said with concern, "Sir, are you okay?" "Ah." The beauty shopping guide's eyes went straight. Li Bufan patted the ground with his left hand. Huh. He stood up like a benchmark, and the beauty shopping guide saw the exploding figure approaching Li Bufan. His eyes widened. Oh my god. This little man didn't feel anything when he put on his clothes, but he took off his clothes. This figure is too explosive. The body is as sharp as a rock, and every muscle on the body is clearly visible. You don't have to try the law with your body, you can feel that this little guy contains a powerful and terrifying explosive force in his body. Unparalleled power. Perfect lines. Daisy swears that this little man is definitely the most perfect man she has ever seen. He has never seen such a bursting figure, as smooth as a cheetah. Okay, I really want to touch it. Daisy's cheeks turned red, Roar sucked quickly, stars were shining in her eyes, and the voice of a devil appeared in her mind. Li Bufan smiled and said, "It's nothing, I'm about to try on clothes." "Oh, good, good." Daisy hurriedly drew the curtains back. This time Li Bufan didn't waste any more time, put on the clothes quickly, took the shirt, and walked out of the fitting room, saying, "Wrap this dress, I want it." "Good, good." Daisy quickly wrapped up the shirt, handed it to Li Bufan, and then personally sent Li Bufan out. Li Bufan was about to leave. Daisy summoned her courage and stuffed a small note into Li Bufan's hand. Daisy lowered her head and blushed and said, "Hello, my name is Daisy Barbara. I am a sophomore at St. Peter's University. This is just my internship. If you can, please call me." These words seemed to exhaust the girl's courage, and she turned around and ran back to the store. Li Bufan opened the note with the girl's address and phone number on it, and couldn't help but smile. In this way, there are girls who throw in their arms. Daisy Barbara, blonde and blue-eyed, is indeed a big beauty. It's okay to have fun, but the timing is not right. Red envelopes are important. After another half an hour, the second red dot appeared, and Li Bufan shuttled through the Queen's area and started chasing his second real-life red envelope. Time is hurried, almost 3 days have passed in a blink of an eye, and it is still 2 hours away. This real-life red envelope drawing will end. During this period of time, Li Bufan didn't even think about going to school, and didn't even return home. She made Wanda very anxious, but she couldn't help it. She knew that her man, although very young, was very assertive. Once he decides what to do, he will do it. After 3 years of getting along, he has never worried Wanda. Therefore, although he doesn't know what Li Bufan is doing during this period, Wanda still chooses unconditional trust. Li Bufan was busy drawing real-life red envelopes. There was also an episode in which Wang Dahu closed the door nervously, ready to run away at any time, but in the evening, news broke that the Viper Gang had been wiped out. Wang Dahu was overjoyed and immediately called Li Bufan to thank him and promised that Lao Wang's restaurant will always be free for him in the future. Li Bufan couldn't laugh or cry. He didn't expect that there would be an unexpected gain, and he would have the Overlord meal in the future. For nearly 3 days, Li Bufan has gained a lot. He drew a total of 7 real-life red envelopes, including both ordinary red envelopes and mission red envelopes. The rewards for the items obtained are as follows. 1. Red high heels 1. 2. Gauss individual pistol 1. 3. Bulletproof umbrella 1. 6. Chakra basic profound meaning. 7. The profound truth of the dead. Well, of the 7 real-life red envelopes, 5 of them are useless, which may be useful to others, but to Li Bufan, they are really useless. Red high heels? What use do I want this stuff for? Gaussian pistol. This is a laser pistol, a high-tech product, but not a black technology, because Iron Man has become famous all over the world. Tony Stark not only developed a steel battlesuit, but also a laser weapon. Not to mention bulletproof umbrellas, they are useless, only chakra basics, and necromancers, very useful. Chakra, the foundation of the Naruto world, is the foundation of ninjutsu, illusion, and physique. The Marvel world does not exist at all. Li Bufan obtained the chakra basics, and immediately mastered the method of chakra operation. Although he has not yet extracted the skills of the Naruto world, he can already cultivate, generate and operate chakra. As for the profound truth of the dead, it comes from the death god world. Li Bufan, who has fully absorbed the profound truth of the necro, can already see the necromancers, and can also practice like Kurosaki Ichigo, and use the soul slasher in the death god world. Both chakra basic uprising and death god uprising are extremely important, because this is the basis for using the skills of the 2 worlds of Naruto and death god. Next, you only need to draw the red envelopes of the 2 worlds. Queens, subway station. Li Bufan passed the security check, walked towards the subway, and secretly said, "In the last 2 hours, the 9th real-life red envelope appeared. I hope this time I can draw rewards from the Hokage or Death God world." At this time, mind. The system voice resurfaced. Ding. Congratulations to the host, you have reached the qualification to know the ultimate mission, please check. Like an electric current, a burst of information struck Li Bufan's mind. Ultimate Mission 1. The host needs to complete an intimate contact with Black Widow, Natasha Romanova. The contact distance is -20 centimeters. Task duration. 7 days. Mission successful. The red envelope drawing will be upgraded from level B to level A. Mission failure. The ultimate mission will be changed, but it will be released at least 3 months later. After browsing the information of the ultimate mission, Li Bufan was confused. To contact with Black Widow, The contact distance is still minus 20 centimeters? Walter FAK. You really know how to play with the system, day by day, you are so tactful. And also, based on the tasks you posted, are you sure you are a red envelope real scene extraction system, not a rogue system? The task is still to be done. If the system is not completed, it will not disappear, but if you want to do it again, you have to wait at least 3 months. This is definitely not acceptable to Li Bufan. Thinking about this, Li Bufan walked into the subway. At the moment it was 5 o'clock in the morning, the first train of the subway, and there were not many passengers. Li Bufan followed the directions on the real map and came to the third carriage, and found a seat casually. There are only 3 people in this carriage. A yawning old man, and 2 young people, a man, a woman. A man wearing a cape and unable to see his face, a girl with blonde hair and blue eyes, tall, very young, still in college, in a trance looking out the window. Li Bufan was so clear about the girl's message, and that was because, unfortunately, he happened to know the girl. Daisy Barbara, the girl who stuffed a note in his hand in the boutique 3 days ago. Unexpectedly, I encountered it again, fate. Li Bufan smiled. Next to Daisy Barbara, the young man was standing, his right hand flashing red, and a heart-shaped red envelope appeared. Without words, it should be an ordinary red envelope. After a glance, Li Bufan's mouth twitched, somewhat speechless. Early in the morning, I did not expect to encounter a subway wolf. There are not many people in this car, there are many seats, but the guy doesn't sit anywhere else, but sits next to Daisy Barbara, rubbing his butt on Daisy Barbara, pretending to be pretty. Picture. Looking at Daisy Barbara again, Li Bufan is even more speechless. The silly Bayesian didn't know what he was thinking. Her eyes were blank. The scenery outside the window flashed like the wind. She was completely immersed in her own world. She didn't even notice what the man was doing. She was very nervous. At this level, there is no one. With joy on the man's face, he thought that the girl had acquiesced, and he was much bolder, and his right hand quietly walked around Daisy Barbara's back and touched the girl's soft buttocks. What? Daisy Barbara jumped up screaming, only then realized what had happened and stared at the man angrily. The man is obviously a veteran. Even if he is found, his face is calm and his right hand swayed. Huh. A shimmering dagger slipped out of his sleeve and appeared in his palm. The man threatened in a low voice, "Sit down. There is no police here, no one will come to rescue you. If you cooperate, I promise you won't hurt you, but you dare to resist, I don't guarantee what will happen. Anyway, I have carried 3 lives in my hand, and you are not behind." Daisy Barbara was desperate. "God, my benevolent Lord, can you save me? Please, please come and save me." Her prayer seemed to have worked, and a sneer sounded. Follow closely. A tall, model-like young boy stood up from his seat and walked over here, and Daisy Barbara, who saw the young boy's face, was full of surprises and even an incredible color. Oh, my God. The Lord not only heard her prayer, but also sent the boy who was thinking about her day and night to her. Since getting acquainted with Li Bufan, she has been awake at night. For the past 3 days, Li Bufan's shadow was always in his mind. As time went on, Li Bufan's face was not blurred, but became clearer. This is probably the so-called love at first sight. Just now, she was still there. Aftertaste. The Metro Wolf Mister also saw Li Bufan, looked at it casually, and laughed. High school student. Cut. He took the dagger, shook it towards Li Bufan, and said sarcastically, "Hey, brat. Just get away if you don't want to die. Just you want a hero to save the beauty. Don't be kidding. A kid like you, I can play 10. Li Bufan stopped, 4 meters away from the subway Mr. Wolf, and said with a chuckle, "Oh, isn't it?" Mr. Subway Wolf also said that his threat worked, and he was even more proud. His face became more mad and fierce. Years of experience told him that the more he did this, the more he would be frightened. Next moment. Whoosh. Li Bufan jumped suddenly, and with this slight jump, the distance of 4 meters was completely wiped out. Mr. Wolf in the subway was scared and silly. F*K. Damn yellow monkey. What kind of monster are you? Click. Li Bufan kicked the man's dagger's wrist, and the dagger fell to the ground. His right hand was like a nail, nailed to the wall of the carriage. The blood rushed, and Mr. Subway Wolf's entire right hand turned into a pool of meat. I go. Li Bufan himself was a little surprised. This kick was too strong, and he is not particularly clear about his strength now. The man wailed like a pig, and immediately attracted the attention of the passengers in the nearby carriages, and they rushed over. Adding it together, there are about 20 people. The passengers looked at Lee Buffon and the terrible Metro Wolf Mr. Wolf in surprise. They looked at each other. They didn't know what had happened. Someone had already called the police. Mind. The system voice appeared. Ding. Congratulations to the host. I received an ordinary red envelope, and the item reward is Metro Wolf, the right hand of God. Item. Metro Wolf, the right hand of God. Attributes. Ordinary red envelope. Special items. Skills. Quality. B level high, divided into inferior, medium, and high. World. Metro Wolf Empire. Remarks. Metro Wolf Empire. This is the paradise of Metro Wolf. In this world, everyone is working hard for the hand of the subway wolf with the highest skills, and the best among them is dubbed the title of right hand of God. Once you have the right hand of God, your right hand will gain incredible magic power. Women who have intimate contact with you will be 100 times more happy. No man is your opponent. As long as you have had a relationship once, a woman will never forget it. You can conquer 90% of the women in the world with the right hand of God alone. You are the deadly poison for women. This title is the highest crown of the Metro Wolf Empire, and its recognition even exceeds the royal crown. My Nima. Lee Buffon almost didn't spit out a mouthful of old blood, looked at his right hand extremely speechlessly, and the moment he clicked on the red envelope, he had already obtained the inheritance of the right hand of God. But what the hell is this subway wolf empire? The highest goal of everyone is to become a man with the right hand of God. There is actually such a country? Walter F.A.K. The right hand of God. It turns out that this is the right hand of God, so it's so domineering. At this time, the two police officers arrived first, and immediately pulled out their guns and pointed them at Lee Buffon. One of them said, "Hey, boy, don't act rashly, let the man go." Daisy Barbara quickly defended Lee Buffon. The two police officers believed, but they were still a little speechless. Others just used your girlfriend to be frivolous, but when you came up, you abolished one of the other's hands. Just because of excessive defense, right? Okay. The policeman shrugged helplessly and said, "Big boy, we will definitely investigate the matter. Now you just need to let go of that man, and come back to the police station with me. I promise you will be fine, okay?" Lee Buffon let go and chuckled, "That won't work. Today Thursday, I have to go to school." Daisy Barbara snorted at the police officer and hurriedly said to Lee Buffon, "My father is Odin Barbara, he is a member of the Senate. I will call him right away. Don't worry, it will not delay your schooling." Oh. Lee Buffon was taken aback. He didn't expect that this girl who was an intern in a fashion store had a lot of background, but she was actually a daughter of a counselor. America's Senate and House of Representatives are in charge of different things. Compared with the two houses, the division of labor is different, and there is no right file size, but for ordinary people, whether it is the Senate or the House of Representatives, it is at the top of the pyramids. The power is terrible. America has 50 states, and each state has 2 Senate seats regardless of file size. Daisy Barbara's father, Odin Barbara, is one of the representatives of New York State. In New York's upper-class society, but famous existence. The most intuitive expression is that when she heard Daisy Barbara's words, both the two police officers and the surrounding passengers changed their faces. The passengers looked at Lee Buffon with envy. This kid, blessed, actually caught Odin's daughter. The policeman changed his face and said, "It turned out to be Miss Daisy. Don't worry, your boyfriend doesn't need to go to the police station. You are already victims. My name is Kid Michael. Please tell Odin for me. Greetings, sir." Whoosh. Suddenly a gust of strong wind hits, and a ghostly black shadow flashes away. Gia Gia. A malicious sneer appeared, and at the same time, a fishy smell suddenly appeared in the third carriage. The others didn't react, and looked at each other, wondering what monster got in the carriage. Lee Buffon looked up instantly, and an ugly man with a pimple face and a big toad mouth was crawling on the top of the carriage. Even if he had never seen this face, Lee Buffon knew who this guy was. Mutant Toad. In this matter, we should start with Magneto. He and Professor X are mutant worlds, 2 god-level leaders, but when it comes to dealing with humans, their ideas have essentially conflicted. Professor X hopes to live in peace with mankind and live together. Magneto thinks this is nonsense. How can mutant live in peace with humans? Even if he could, he didn't want to, because from the bottom of his heart he believed that mutant was a higher-level species than humans, so he advocated the elimination of humans. Even if humans cannot be eliminated, mutant should have the final say in this world. As a result, the two good friends parted ways. Professor X founded Xavier's school, and Magneto created the Mutant League Brotherhood. The two men gathered a large number of followers and worked for their own ideas. Magneto founded Brotherhood, with 4 veterans, Wanda and Quicksilver brothers and sisters, and so is the Toad Man in front of you. The Wanda brothers and sisters did not want to be enemies of all mankind. They did not approve of Magneto's claims, and even helped X-Men. After Magneto knew about it, they imposed harsh punishments on the two of them. They could no longer bear them, so they fled. The two tried their best to get rid of Magneto's control. After they came to New York, they hid themselves and lived like ordinary people. They never used super ability again. But I didn't expect that even if they did this level, they would only have 3 years of peace. Magneto found them anyway. The toad in front of him, as the name suggests, is characterized by toadization. It has an 18-meter-long sticky tongue. It has an outstanding jumping ability. It can jump for more than 10 meters. What needs special explanation is that this guy regards Wanda as a goddess. Thinking about it this way, Magneto sent this guy to find himself, and his attitude was very interesting. The passengers in the carriage followed Lee Buffon's gaze and saw the toad people. They were all dumbfounded, and the sound of shock followed by roar. Oh, God, what kind of monster is he? Mutant. My God, it's disgusting. Laugh. Toad's mouth opened wide, and his tongue was like a bolt of lightning, which instantly pierced a man's throat. After passing it, it didn't take it back. Instead, it pierced through the throats of 3 people again like a fold like lightning. The mouth is too cheap, and now they all paid the price. What? Fear, like a virus, spread quickly among the passengers. The passengers were frightened and fled in a panic. The 2 police officers are no exception. Please, that's mutant, don't run away at this moment, stay here for the new year? Moment. Only Lee Buffon and Daisy Barbara were left in the carriage. Lee Buffon gave Daisy a surprised look. He didn't expect this rich daughter to be brave. The girl took Lee Buffon's arm and shivered. Let's go. Toad smiled strangely. Girl, I'm afraid you won't be able to leave. What do you think I am doing here? Daisy Roar sucked for a while, and realized that this weird person was either looking for Lee Buffon or looking for herself. There was horror in her eyes, and she trembled. I don't know what you want to do, but my dad is a member of the Senate. You'd better not be foolish, or you will definitely be in trouble. Gia. Senator's daughter. Toad stared at Lee Buffon sarcastically, and sneered. Yellow kid, with Wanda, you are still not satisfied, and you are still messing around with flowers and weeds. You damn it, you know. But it's okay. Just you kid, how do you match it? Wanda. Humph. Lee Buffon chuckled softly. Wanda is my daughter-in-law. What are you? It's your turn to talk about it. You. Toad's eyes were burning. Daisy, this has nothing to do with you, you go first. Then you. Do not bother me. Okay, will you call me then? Lee Buffon helplessly said. If there is a need, I will contact you. The girl was overjoyed. Okay, then we're settled. After all, Daisy looked at Lee Buffon with concern, hesitation, got out of the car and left the subway station. Toad sneered. Hee hee, I didn't expect your kid to be a flower protector. No wonder you can fool Wanda, kid. I will let you taste the taste of life is better than death. Lee Buffon said lightly. Idiot, you are not the boss, and you have no right to decide. Don't say anything cruel. Magneto sent you here, right? Toad was surprised. You actually know Magneto? Lee Buffon sneered and said. I not only know Magneto, but also your purpose. I don't bother to talk nonsense with you. You help me give Magneto a message and tell him that you are not allowed to call Wanda's idea again. Otherwise, you will be at your own risk. What? Toad was shocked, his face looked incredible, as if he had heard the funniest joke in the world. Is this guy crazy? He's just an ordinary person, and he's just a high school student. How dare he threaten Magneto? You. Ha ha ha. Toad laughed. You yellow-skinned boy, that's so funny. Ha ha ha. What do you think the uncle came here for? Just to catch you, you stupid pig. Lee Buffon chuckled. I definitely know. Don't you just want to control me first, and then use it to threaten Wanda? Boy, since you know everything, then go with this uncle. Toad's complexion suddenly turned cold, his pimple face seemed to be covered with a thin layer of frost, his mouth was covered with long mucus tongue, and he shot straight towards Lee Buffon's chest. Very good. Lee Buffon narrowed his eyes, he was about to take action, and taught this lay Toad severely, but at this moment. Boom. The gunfire sounded, and a bullet was fired at Toad. Toad's face changed drastically, and he said angrily, Do you dare to shame me? Even though the person who fired the gun suddenly got into trouble, Toad's reaction was almost at its extreme. While speaking, his long tongue rolled back, and he accurately captured the bullet's trajectory, and a lot of mucus was ejected from his tongue, which enveloped the bullet. Whoosh! The long tongue followed, and threw the bullet at the person who shot. A black leather jacket slid into the carriage like lightning, and swiftly avoided the bullet. Follow closely. A fascinating face caught Lee Buffon's eyes. The devil's figure and angel's face are exactly Black Widow, Natasha Romanoff. Squat down. Natasha Romanoff screamed coldly, straight and slender, like a model's right leg suddenly lifted, resting on Lee Buffon's shoulder, with a sudden force. A huge force weighing more than 100 kilograms struck, and he couldn't help but force Lee Buffon to be overwhelmed. If it was Lee Buffon 3 days ago, he would definitely not be able to resist it, but now. He remained motionless, and curled his lips silently. Hey, what's the matter? Magneto just keeps eye on himself. Why did the people from S.H.I.E.L.D. also come? Black Widow gave Lee Buffon a surprised look with an embarrassment on his face. How is this going? According to intelligence reports, this little man of Scarlet Witch is just an ordinary high school student, with average qualities. How could he withstand the weight of his own iron leg without precautions?
Black Widow. Toad was shocked, and then smiled strangely. Do you S.H.I.E.L.D. also like Wanda?
Natasha Romanoff pointed his gun at Toad, snorted coldly, and said, Tell Magneto. This is New York, not where he went wild.
Bang, bang, bang. When the voice fell, Natasha Romanoff decisively pulled the trigger and fired several shots.
Bitch. Toad was surprised, cursed a few times, and quickly flashed in the car, avoiding a few bullets, and then a jump, flashed out of the car, and yelled bitterly, You bitch, I will talk to you sooner or later. Afterwards. It must be possible to play, but S.H.I.E.L.D. is also eyeing Wanda, and Toad must notify Magneto of this important information as soon as possible. This conflict broke out suddenly and ended even more suddenly. Toad left. Natasha Romanoff's right leg was still resting on Lee Buffon's right shoulder. For Natasha Romanoff, it was easy and stress-free, and the flexibility of the body was simply inhuman. The corner of Lee Buffon's mouth twitched, but he thought of the ultimate mission. It is better to hit the sun if you choose a day. Now that you have met Natasha Romanoff. Then today. Then. Now. At this point, Lee Buffon immediately retreated, but Natasha Romanoff did not expect it, and then retreated. Boom. The two directly hit the iron wall of the carriage. Natasha Romanoff's right leg was resting on Lee Buffon's broad shoulder, and it was too late to take it off. As a result, Natasha Romanoff's right leg couldn't help but rise, and in the end it was already level with her own head. Vertical one-character horse. Fortunately, it was Natasha Romanoff. All qualities had reached the best of human beings, and if he were to be replaced by an ordinary person, under such a fierce impact, his crotch might have been torn. What? Rao was Natasha Romanoff, and Roar was also surprised, with frowning eyebrows, and screaming, Boy, what are you doing? Lee Buffon chuckles. Widow sister, should I say this? What do you S.H.I.E.L.D. want to do? You? Natasha Romanoff looked surprised and shocked by Lee Buffon's composure. The information is wrong. S.H.I.E.L.D.'s preliminary survey results show that Lee Buffon is an ordinary high school student. But now, please, this big boy obviously knows her and knows S.H.I.E.L.D. From his tone of voice, he can even infer that he also knows the purpose of S.H.I.E.L.D. Look at his calm expression. Ordinary high school student. What a joke, this 18-year-old high school student is not ordinary at all. Just as Natasha Romanoff was shocked, Lee Buffon had already activated Hysegod's right hand skill, and silently pressed his right hand on Natasha Romanoff's soft and silky water snake waist. Sizzle. It was like an electric current hit, Natasha Romanoff's body trembled, and a pair of beautiful eyes showed indescribable colors. A pair of beautiful eyes, instantly blurred. It seems to have seen heaven, colorful, beautiful and splendid. God. What kind of monster is this little guy? So effective? It seems that the system didn't lie to me. All of Natasha Romanoff's reactions were naturally captured by Lee Buffon. He chuckled and couldn't help but whistle. It seemed that the first ultimate mission was about to be completed. Little guy, let go. Not urgent. Natasha Romanoff, as a 10th level S.H.I.E.L.D. agent, naturally has nothing to say, but it is still suffering. This little guy's right hand seems to have endless magic power, and there is always a voice echoing deep in his heart. Don't stop, don't stop. Every time she enjoys her psychological defense is defeated by 1 point. Damn little villain, you don't want to know what our S.H.I.E.L.D. came from, put me down. Let's talk carefully, no more. Oh. Lee Buffon narrowed his eyes. No hurry. Let's do something interesting first. Anyway, there is still more time. After half an hour, the two parted ways. Lee Buffon went home and then went to school. Natasha Romanoff returned to the SHIELD base. Another half hour passed. SHIELD headquarters, located in Manhattan, New York. Natasha Romanoff, who returned to the headquarters, walked in the corridors of the headquarters building with a faint smile from time to time. After half an hour apart, she has returned to SHIELD headquarters, but the voice of the little villain still haunts her mind. Although it is only half an hour, it is unforgettable and unforgettable for a lifetime. Natasha Romanoff felt that it was not half an hour, but half a century. How many times did he feel happy? It's already innumerable, it seems to be all the time. God. I really don't know what magic the little guy has. Little villain. Natasha Romanoff couldn't help laughing, her pretty face flushed. Agent Romanova? SHIELD Director Nick Fury's voice sounded. He looked at Natasha Romanoff strangely and asked, "What's wrong with you?" Natasha Romanoff regained his senses, only to realize that he had already arrived at the director's office, embarrassed, and hurriedly said, "Oh, Chief Fury, it's nothing." Nick Fury asked, "What was the result of the investigation?" Natasha Romanoff restored the quality of the top agent and quickly reported what happened on the subway an hour ago. Nick Fury sat at his desk, pondered for 2 seconds, and said, "Sure enough, Magneto hasn't given up on Scarlet Witch. Next, some are busy. Agent Normanova, the upcoming Avengers. Scarlet Witch is in great need, so be sure to win her over." Natasha Romanoff. Yes. Nick Fury. Still according to the original plan, starting with her little man. That little villain. Natasha Romanoff said, "Director Fury, I think our intelligence on Lee is wrong. He is definitely not an ordinary high school student." Oh? There was a hint of surprise in Nick Fury's eyes. "I didn't expect Black Widow to comment on Wanda's little man. This is really rare." Natasha Romanoff took a deep roar and quickly explained Lee Buffon's reaction on the subway. Nick Fury was shocked and said, "Damn. Hearing you say that, that little guy seems to know everything. How did he do it?" Natasha Romanoff shook his head. "It's weird." Nick Fury smiled and said, "It seems that we really underestimated the little guy, but it's nothing. He understands that he is in a better situation, lest we explain it again. If it weren't for us today, he would just to be taken away by Toad." Natasha Romanoff nodded. Nick Fury said, "Continue to monitor, while staring at Magneto's Brotherhood, and then seize the opportunity to chat with Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch. Be sure to win over the two brothers and sisters before Magneto takes the shot." Natasha Romanoff. Yes. I will deploy now. When Natasha Romanoff returned to SHIELD to resume his life, Toad also returned to Brotherhood's temporary base in New York and reported everything to Magneto. SHIELD and Brotherhood, the two major forces, have all acted, and the clouds have engulfed Lee Buffon and Wanda. As the parties involved, one knows well, and the other is still immersed in the little happiness of a peaceful life. I don't know anything about what's happening outside. The one who knew everything was Lee Buffon, and the one who knew nothing was Wanda. The trouble had already come to his door. Lee Buffon naturally started to solve it. On the other side of Wanda, although he didn't know the trouble, he encountered other troubles. The trouble is due to Lee Buffon. He was absent from class for 3 consecutive days. Wanda works as an intern teaching assistant at Midtown High School. She has certain rights. In addition, she is beautiful and has a great personality, so she is very popular. She helped Lee Buffon take sick leave and the school passed. Therefore, although Lee Buffon was absent from school for 3 days, it did not seem to be a problem. But in fact, it's not. 3 days of absenteeism for no reason will deduct credits. Once the deduction reaches a certain level, you will have to withdraw from school. No one pays attention. But unfortunately, someone happened to pay attention. The man was Morse, the senior director of Midtown High School. He was 30 years old, young and promising. He was about 1.8 meters tall. He looked decent and had a small background at home. He entered Midtown High School from Wanda. Like a male cat in heat. All kinds of flowers and gifts, hoping to win the hearts of beauties. It is a pity that the flowers are sentimental, and the water is unintentional. Morse confessed several times, but was ruthlessly rejected by Wanda. One time was at a teacher's party. That time Morse also wanted to use the crowd to make waves and force Wanda to agree, but he didn't expect that Wanda would not give any face. Refuse again. The scene was embarrassing. Morse lost face and couldn't get off stage at all. Since then, his attitude towards Wanda has undergone a huge change. Various investigations, for nothing else, is to humiliate this woman severely and restore the lost face. In the office, there are only 2 people, Morse and Wanda. Morse threw a stack of documents in front of Wanda and sneered. Mr. Wanda, what else do you have to say? As an internship assistant, you didn't set an example. You actually helped your students forge medical records. Wanda stared at Morse and said, what do you want to do? Morse smiled and said, Mr. Wanda, it's not what I want to do, but what you want to do, right? Wanda said, well, I admit that I have neglected my duty, and I will give you a resignation report. Resign? Morse snorted coldly. Do you think you can solve this by resigning? You are too naive, right? Wanda frowned, and said unhappily, can't I resign? Morse tore off his disguise, and laughed. Miss Wanda, you are really naive. Humph. You don't want to think about what you did to me. You actually think that resignation can solve all the troubles. Don't think that you and that Huang what happened to Pi Kid is unknowingly. What? Wanda's complexion changed, and he secretly said, oops, solemnly said. I don't know what you are talking about. You don't know what I'm talking about. Then Miss Wanda, tell me, what is this? What is this? What is this again? Morse took out a gray file bag from the drawer and threw photos in front of Wanda. They were all photos of Wanda and Li Bufan. Some were hugging each other in the park or kissing in Times Square. This guy. Wanda glared at Morse angrily. You despicable and shameless villain, you are looking for someone to investigate me? Good. Morse sat on the office chair, sarcastically, Miss Wanda, if I hadn't investigated you, I really don't know that your private life is so wonderful. Tisk tusk, as a teacher at Midtown High School, you actually fell in love with your students. Oh, you are not only in love, you are all living together. Miss Wanda, I have to say, you really surprised me. Wanda blushed and said coldly, who I am in love with, that is my freedom. When I was with Bufan, I was not a teacher at Midtown High School. You can't control. Morse sneered. But you are now. Look at what this is. This is the yellow-skinned kid's annual report. As long as 2 more credits are deducted, he will get out. Miss Wanda, how many credits will be deducted for 3 consecutive days of absenteeism? Oh, I remembered. As 5 credits. As long as I publish the fake medical record you forged for that yellow boy, he will be finished. Wanda's eyes were burning, and she shouted, dare you? I did this and it has nothing to do with him. Morse sneered and said, is it relevant? If you say it, it doesn't count. I say it. Also, Miss Wanda, guess what? If I publicize your relationship with that yellow-skinned kid, you guys what will happen to the 2? Teacher-student love, still yellow skin, the consequences, definitely will be extremely serious, not only to drop out of school, but also to find a job in the future. Wanda, who figured this out, was cold all over. She stared at Morse, clenched her fists, and said in a deep voice, let's talk. What is your request? I remind you, no matter what your request is, but as long as you dare to hurt the extraordinary, I will definitely kill you. Morse smiled indifferently. Wanda, Li Bufan, this young couple, he had already investigated clearly, 2 ordinary people without any background, one of them is a yellow race, and they want to threaten him? Ha ha. This kind of threat is really naive. In his opinion, Wanda's threat was nothing more than a desperate woman's struggle between trapped beasts. Not worth mentioning. Ms. Wanda, you don't need to be like this at all. Morse's face eased, and he chuckled. Publishing this information will not do me any good. I have no reason to do this. I just want to talk to Ms. Wanda calmly. Wanda. Huh. Morse spread his hands out. Okay, let's be straightforward. My request is very simple. As long as Miss Wanda is with me tomorrow night, I don't know anything. Miss Wanda is still a teacher at Midtown High School, your little one. Men will be fine. Wanda instantly exploded and said angrily, don't think about it. It is absolutely impossible for me to betray the extraordinary, and even if there is no extraordinary, I will absolutely will not look at you as a despicable villain. You disgust me. Not only was Morse not angry, but he enjoyed it very much. He looked at Wanda in despair, and then let himself be devastated. This was what he expected. He put his hands on his chin, staring at his prey like a hunter, and said with a chuckle, Miss Wanda, don't say anything so absolute. There is no betrayal just because there are not enough chips. I believe the chips I showed are enough. As for Miss Wanda, it doesn't matter if Miss Wanda looks down on me, I just need to like Miss Wanda. Wanda was completely disgusted by Morse's shamelessness, and cursed, you are really disgusting. Hee hee. I also feel sick, so what? Morse shrugged and continued, Miss Wanda, if there is nothing else, you can leave. Oh, from now on until 6 o'clock tomorrow night, you have a total of 18 hours, please consider carefully. Don't be impulsive. At this time, oh God. Did that guy get into Miss Wanda? Isn't he too awesome? A low startled roar sounded outside Morse's office. Now. A strangely dressed red humanoid monster, sticking to the wall outside the office like a spider, eavesdropped on the conversation between Wanda and Morse, dumbfounded. This red humanoid monster is just a good friend of Spider-Man Peter Parker, Lee Buffon. Peter Parker was so shocked that he couldn't help but let out a startled roar. The decibel was very low. Morse, an ordinary person, didn't notice it at all, but Wanda, a mutant, heard something vaguely. Who is outside? Wanda screamed, and immediately ran to the window, and the troublemaker Peter Parker was before Wanda opened the window. His wrist shook, and a spider cobweb burst out and escaped instantly. Ha ha. Morse shook his head and sneered. Miss Wanda, I advise you not to pretend to be a fool. My office is on the 6th floor, nearly 20 meters away. How can there be people outside? Stupid pig. You don't know anything about this world. Wanda cursed, opened the window, and looked around vigilantly. After making sure that there was no one, he was relieved. Midtown High School. Canteen. It is lunchtime, and the students are all dining in the cafeteria. Lee Buffon was holding a hearty lunch, sitting at a table in the cafeteria by the window. Beside him was a little fat man named Yawen. At this time, Peter Parker had changed his clothes and had no meals, so he hurried to this table. Come. Yawen shouted, Hey, brother, if you don't want to eat anymore, just wait for the afternoon to be hungry. Yawen, help me get a meal, please. All right. The little fat man said reluctantly, but he rolled his eyes and said, It's okay to let me cook for you, but you can give me some pictures of Goddess Wanda. Peter Parker blushed old, very embarrassed. Lee Buffon almost didn't smile. He and Peter Parker are good friends, and the reason is very simple. Before, he didn't have the awakening system, so self-protection was impossible. He could only hold the thighs of those heroes. After some analysis, Spider-Man Peter Parker was selected. The two are about the same age and have a common topic. Peter Parker has good strength and a virgin personality. He is definitely the most suitable thigh. He transferred to Midtown High School 3 years ago. At that time, Peter Parker had not been bitten by spiders and was bullied by many people at school. Naturally, Lee Buffon would not let go of this excellent opportunity and help him decisively. As time goes by, the relationship between the two gets better and better, and they gradually become good friends. A year ago, this little Asian fat man joined the small group of two. Goddess Wanda. It's easy to say that Wanda's appearance can be played even in the entire universe, plus a few years older than them, he has a style far beyond their age. Therefore, since Wanda entered Midtown High School, she has become the dream goddess of many boys. Peter Parker and Yawen, the little fat man, are no exceptions. Peter Parker relied on his special ability to take a lot of pictures of Wanda while being a hero next door. Lee Buffon also told Wanda about this. The two almost didn't laugh. Will you give it? Yawen shouted when Peter Parker didn't respond. Give me something. Peter Parker was annoyed and said, I have burned all those photos. I have deleted all the photos on my phone. Don't talk nonsense, go and help me cook. I have something to say to Bruce. To say. Bruce Lee, the English name of Lee Buffon. Deleted? You are crazy. The little fat man widened his eyes in shock, got up with regret, and went to help Peter Parker with a meal. He shook his head as he walked, and muttered, Peter, you are crazy. As soon as the fat Yawen left, Peter Parker went crazy. He slammed his fists on the table and leaned forward, staring at Lee Buffon angrily. Old Tai, are you happy to see my joke? You are too much. Lao Tai. Okay, this is naturally red near zoo, and black near ink. Lee Buffon smiled and said, Don't get excited, Peter, what happened? What happened? Peter Parker stared. Tiezi, tell me what happened. According to what you taught me, be lenient and be strict in resistance. Let me give you a reminder, Mrs. Wanda. Oh, did you finally find it? Congratulations. Lee Buffon said. Did you find it? You really? Peter Parker was very angry, annoyed. Why didn't you say it earlier? Did you just want to see me joke? Lee Buffon shrugged and said casually. Please, do you think I didn't say it? Wanda, it's all Wanda. She is now a teacher at Midtown High School, although she is only an intern. If you let others know that she is dealing with her students, what will be the result? Lee Buffon decisively threw all the pot to Wanda. Peter Parker thought for 2 seconds, then nodded solemnly. Lee Buffon laughed. You are really good enough to deceive. Peter Parker was still in a fire, and said, Then what you did is wrong. Tell me, will I tell you? That made me and Yawen both become teachers Wanda and/or goddesses, but this goddess has been soaked by you a long time ago. Arrive. Humph. Li Bufan casually said. Okay, I'm not right about this, but Peter, don't you hide anything from me. After school many times, you acted alone. What did you do? Peter Parker said with a guilty heart. I'm going to work. Li Bufan almost didn't smile, nodded and said, okay, I happen to be short of money. I will work with you part-time in the future. Do not want. Peter Parker instinctively refused. If you will always follow me in the future, should I, the hero next door, do it? Okay. Peter Parker said helplessly, brother, I do have something to hide from you, but I didn't mean it, it's all for your good, you will know in the future. Li Bufan is non-committal. After Li Bufan asked, Peter Parker was mentally balanced, and he was right. Li had something to hide from me, but I also had something to hide from him, and it was even. After I figured it out, my mind became alive. Little Spider-Man was full of excitement and said in shock, damn it, brother, you are so awesome. You have been soaked in Teacher Wanda without knowing it. You are my idol. Tell me, how did you do it? Well, this guy is actually a funny comparison. Li Bufan quickly talked about himself with Wanda, and heard Peter Parker nodding his head again and again, especially when Wanda was bullied. Others did not dare to come forward. Only Li Bufan made a righteous move and was deeply moved. Li is such a person. Ah, what a mess. Peter Parker gave Roar a surprise. Li Bufan wondered. What's wrong? Ms. Wanda is in big trouble. Peter Parker quickly informed Li Bufan of his previous experience. Li Bufan's eyes suddenly turned cold, and his whole body released Senhan's evil spirit, and chuckled. Morse. He is so kind, he dares to hit my woman. Peter Parker said. Bruce, what do you want to do? That guy is not an ordinary person, and there are 2 bodyguards with him every day. Don't be impulsive, you can make things right by yourself, I will help you tomorrow night. No need. Li Bufan chuckled, my trouble, I will solve it. Peter Parker secretly said, but brother, you can't solve it. Now Peter Parker didn't want to reveal his identity. He heard Li Bufan's refusal and didn't say any more. Tonight he has something to do, so I can help my brother solve this problem tomorrow. Hey, Lao Tai, sooner or later, I will surprise you too. Little Spider-Man Peter Parker, looking forward to it. In the afternoon, Li Bufan and Peter Parker went to class as normal, and soon after school time came, Peter Parker was still the same, found an excuse for part-time work, and went away. Little Fatty Yawen murmured. Is there any mistake? I slipped away again. Li, do you know what Peter is doing lately? When did he become so diligent? I always feel that he has something to hide from us. Li Bufan shook his head. I don't know. Yawen said. Don't care about him. Li, let's go to the Electric City together, today I will definitely be able to beat you. Li Bufan shrugged and said, sorry Yawen, I also want to go to work. Yawen. The small group of 3 people seemed to be gone. Until Li Bufan left, the little fat man still looked dumbfounded and muttered. Damn it, what happened to Peter and Li lately, should I go to work too? It is impossible to work part-time. Li Bufan is only his own master. How can it be possible to work for others? Besides, how can part-time work be more interesting than a gun? After breaking up with Yawen, he went to pick up Wanda as soon as possible, and the 2 returned to the love nest together. It could be seen that Wanda was full of thoughts, depressed, and worried on his face. Morse, definitely more than that. What she was afraid of was that once she used super ability herself, Magneto would provoke it, and there might be other messy troubles. Now this kind of peaceful and happy life, don't think about it. Li Bufan didn't break it either, just a few words of comfort. When it was 10 o'clock, after Wanda went to sleep, Li Bufan opened his eyes and went out quietly. After about an hour and a half, he arrived at the Morse's villa. The lights are brilliant, and the guy is having a party with 4 friends. Outside the villa, there are 4 bodyguards patrolling back and forth. The security is quite strict, but to the current Li Bufan, it is rubbish. After taking the super soldier genetic modification fluid, his explosive power is not inferior to the United States. Captain of the country, at most, the staying power is almost sun. The most abnormal ability of the captain of the United States is that the energy will never be exhausted. The famous saying is, I can fight like this for a day and a night. The wall of the villa is very high, at least 3 meters. Friend, here I am. Li Bufan hooked his mouth and jumped. Whoosh. The 3-meter high fence jumped over. Under the dim light, he was like an agile cheetah. With a flash, he passed by a bodyguard, rushed into the villa, and quietly arrived behind the villa garden. F*K. The bodyguard yelled. Paul, what are you calling nonsense? The bodyguard said, Hey John, do you feel it? What? Just now. How did I feel that someone passed by me? F*K. Are you taking drugs again? That night, what nonsense. There are no figures. The bodyguard wiped the cold sweat on his head and muttered, Maybe I really think too much. In the back garden of the villa, 5 white men are drinking. Morse is in it. A white man said dissatisfied, Morse, what's the matter? You broke my big business, I'm going to get that little star soon. Morse looked disdainful and curled his lips. Please, it's just that kind of stuff. What's a pity? Compared to Wanda, that bitch is not a woman at all. The white man made a cut and mocked. I definitely know that, but that girl is a thorny rose. You have already spent 2 months. You still haven't won it. Others said one after another. Yes. Brother, it's hard to come by. You can't eat it, but there are us. A trace of hatred flashed in Morse's eyes, and he spitefully said, But after tomorrow night, everything is different. What do you think I called you for? Tomorrow night, that bitch will let us do it. Do you know what let us push means? Just do whatever you want. Hey. The other 4 people suddenly became interested and asked what happened. Morse quickly revealed the relationship between Wanda and Lee Buffon, and then recounted his threats and Wanda's despair in detail. Everyone's eyes are bright. Wonderful. That female teacher in your school is really avant-garde, living with her own students. Haha. This is not the point. The point is, tomorrow night, we can do whatever we want with her. Morse, don't worry. We will help you ravage her so hard that she will never forget her in her life. Ha ha ha. Sudden. A cold voice appeared. Oh, that's a pity, you can't wait for tomorrow. Laughing, the man's face changed drastically, and he shouted, Who? Scold. A cold light flashed. Lee Buffon with a frosty face suddenly appeared behind the man, holding a steel pipe in his hand, which had penetrated the man's throat. Everyone was shocked. After a successful blow, Lee Buffon drew the steel tube back and stabbed it again. Huh. 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 3 consecutive times, swift as lightning, and before everyone had time to react, Morse invited the 4 friends to join the event, all of which were killed. One by one, his eyes widened, and he couldn't squint at all. You? Morse collapsed to the ground in fright, looked at Lee Buffon in disbelief, and said in shock, You are Lee Buffon. Do you know what you are doing? How dare you kill someone? Lee Buffon took the steel pipe and sneered. Why, if you are allowed to commit a crime, I am not allowed to kill. Morse. I haven't committed a crime yet. Why are you murdering? No, isn't this guy an ordinary high school student? How did he get in? Lee Buffon chuckled softly. I heard you want to trouble me? Misunderstanding, misunderstanding. Morse's face was pale, knowing that he must not confront Lee Buffon at this time, and hurriedly said, Student Lee Buffon, believe me, all this is a misunderstanding. Cut, it's boring. Lee Buffon curled his mouth, not too lazy to talk nonsense, and raised the steel pipe to aim at Morse, who was limp on the ground. At this moment, a cold drink suddenly sounded. Stop. The 4 bodyguards have entered, all standing behind Lee Buffon, with 4 pitch-black muzzles aimed at Lee Buffon's head. The head of the bodyguard cursed in disbelief. F*K. Someone actually came in. Yellow-skinned kid, you broke into a private house and committed first-degree murder. Even if we kill you, you deserve it. If you don't want to die, just take that. Put down the damn steel pipe. Morse saw the rescuer suddenly and laughed wildly. Yellow kid, you're a little too tender. I thought I had investigated everything clearly, but I didn't expect that I still underestimated you. You actually know Kung Fu. Kung Fu, ha ha ha. You are so arrogant. Even if you know Kung Fu, what about it? Don't look at what era is now. Can your Kung Fu stop the bullet? You are dead, and your woman is mine too. Kill him. Lee Buffon's eyes were cold. The head of the bodyguard said coldly, Boy, you are unlucky. Seeing that you are still young, I originally planned to let you go, but since the employer wants you to die, you can only die. Shot. At this very moment, a strange laugh suddenly sounded, and a sticky tongue came out of the bright light, like a fold like lightning, piercing the wrists of the 4 bodyguards. The 4 bodyguards suddenly screamed. Whoosh. In the strange laughter, Toad jumped into the back garden and appeared in front of Lee Buffon again. Monster. The bodyguard leader was shocked and yelled in horror, This guy is a monster. Run away. Toad didn't even look at the man. He opened his mouth wide, and his long tongue shot out again. It pierced the throats of the 4 bodyguards like lightning. After a sudden, he withdrew. The 4 bodyguards covered his throat in pain, in panic. Fell to the ground. Morse was dumbfounded. What the hell? What happened before his eyes completely subverted his worldview? Li Bufan chuckled. Toad, you are late. Toad was surprised. Do you know I will come? Nonsense. Li Bufan sneered. Who is Magneto, who swears not to give up unless he achieves his goal? How could he let go because of a small setback? But you'd better move faster, because shield people are also staring. Follow me. Toad laughed and said, Boy, don't you think that shield can save you this time? Ha ha ha. Amid the laughter, a fierce fight suddenly sounded outside the villa, and violent airwaves rushed toward the villa. Li Bufan frowned and immediately understood, and smiled. That's right, since Magneto already knows that Shield's people are watching in secret, then he can't be careless and only send you over. Besides you, who else is there? Toad gave a huh, and said, You kid, you are actually quite smart. Li Bufan sneered, Idiot, this is also called smart? Is basic common sense good? Toad was furious. Asshole. What is your attitude? Boom. Amid the loud noise, a behemoth with a height of at least 2.5 meters, forcibly slammed into a hole in the courtyard of the villa and rushed in. The man had a sturdy face, especially a mouthful of silver steel teeth, which reflected the light of his debut in the moonlight. Mutant big steel teeth, awakening the Julie gene. A punch is enough to knock over a car. He and Toad are both Magneto's subordinates, but compared with other mutants, these two are miscellaneous fish. Toad stuck his tongue out and asked, Big guy, all the people outside have taken care of it? Dagong snarled his teeth and said with disdain, They are all Shield's trash fish, 2 4th-level agents. But we must move fast. In 5 minutes, Shield support will be there. If you want to go, there will be some trouble. Toad nodded and smirked at Li Bufan and said, Boy, don't resist, or the uncle will interrupt your dog legs. Magneto just told us to take you back, but I can't say you can hurt you. Not urgent. At the moment of the enemy, Li Bufan is still calm, waved his hands at the 2 mutants, looked at Morse, and chuckled. Let's put aside in advance, I still have some personal matters to deal with. Spare. Morse was scared to pee, knelt down without hesitation, and pleaded in horror. Student Bruce Lee, I was wrong. I shouldn't. Huh. The cold light flashed, and the steel pipe burst out of the air. The moment Morse looked up, the steel pipe penetrated his throat accurately. The powerful inertia flew Morse upside down and fell heavily into the swimming pool. Li Bufan clapped his hands. Okay, the personal affairs are done, we should have a good chat. We? Talk about it. Hearing Li Bufan speak so loudly, Toad and Doganya were all taken aback. The two laughed at the same time as if they had heard the funniest joke in the world. Dogangfong smiled in hurt, and said, Toad, you didn't tell me that this kid is neurotic. I really thought I knew a little about the skills of a 3-legged cat, so I could do whatever I wanted, and then I could ask us about the conditions? Ha ha ha. I'm going to be laughed to death by this little guy. Toad tested negatively. Don't laugh, work. Take this bastard. No problem, I can solve him with 1 finger. Boy, are you ready? Dog-Gangtooth grinned and rushed towards Li Bufan. There was a bang in the air, and the tiles on the ground were all shattered. Good job. Li Bufan's expression sank. Since this body was remodeled, he has never really fought against anyone. It happened to be tested with this guy. Boom. There was a blast in the air. Big steel teeth blasted towards Li Bufan with a fist like a casserole, and at the same time he laughed wildly. Boy, don't you know how to fight? I only used 30% of my strength. I punched to death, then you deserve to die. Li Bufan hooked the corner of his mouth and punched in the backhand. Next moment, Doganya's face changed drastically, and he looked at Li Bufan incredulously. I felt an indescribable huge force coming from his wrist, and it was not only huge force, but also seemed to contain a strange inner strength, and got into his arm. It broke our hearts. Li Bufan's fist is naturally not simple. His body has been completely remodeled. He also possesses incredible power. It's not a problem to get rid of the big steel teeth. What's more terrifying is that with the help of Wing Chun, he has practiced the essence of national arts. Gang Jin. Boxing integrates the strength, and the big steel teeth only uses 30% of the force, and this kind of result will naturally occur. What? The big steel tooth made a miserable roar, and flew back, fell heavily, and was directly smashed into a big hole in the ground. What? Toad showed disbelief and surprised roar. What kind of monster are you, kid? Damn. You still have the face to say that others, we too, are you more like a monster, right? Li Bufan sneered. After instantly killing Big Steel Tooth, he jumped and flashed across the swimming pool. He pulled out the 2-meter-long steel pipe from Morse's body, and then flashed his feet on Big Steel Tooth's chest. Step on it. Click. The Big Steel Tooth had several broken ribs, vomiting blood violently, and Li Bufan went down with the steel pipe and tried his best to pierce it down. Run through. Da Ganya stared unwillingly and killed him directly. Compared with superhero, most of mutant are more like human beings. They are better than Magneto and Professor X. They eat a peanut, damn or die. They are more like remote magicians. The melee ability is really worrying. Definitely, the premise is that you don't get controlled. Not to mention the miscellaneous fish like Daganga, dead is dead, there is absolutely no suspended animation. You kid. Toad's eyes flashed with terror, but his mouth was extremely tough. I'm going to kill you. Come. Li Bufan smiled, also at this moment. Mind. The system voice appeared again. Ding. Congratulations to the host. You have reached the authority to know the ultimate mission to join SHIELD. Ding. Explanation. To upgrade from level B to level A, you only need to complete 2 ultimate missions, and the host only needs to complete the second ultimate mission to complete the upgrade. Join SHIELD. What a joke. I can't play with dungeons alone, so what does it mean to join SHIELD? Work for Nick Fury. Why? Li Bufan was very dissatisfied with the second ultimate mission. He quickly browsed the relevant information and his eyes lit up because he suddenly discovered a loophole in this ultimate mission. What is the mission? Join SHIELD. What can I do after joining? No regulations. In other words, he only needs SHIELD to certify an agent brand, and then he will be deemed to have quit by himself, and he will be deemed to have completed the task. Hey, then there is nothing to complain about. In an instant, all kinds of thoughts flashed through Li Bufan's mind, and when he looked at Toad, his gaze became hot. You and Daganya are my name for joining SHIELD. Toad. What are your eyes? I don't engage in Foundation. Manhattan, SHIELD headquarters. Director Nick Fury, Black Widow Natasha Romanoff and other core executives are planning to create Avengers. Iron Man Tony Stark has been confirmed to join, and the original Captain Steve Rogers has been unfrozen. In a few days, Steve Rogers will visit the SHIELD base, and Nick Fury will meet him personally. It is not a problem to let him join the Avengers. Oh, and the Hulk, this is a bit troublesome, but it's not a big problem. In addition to these 3, plus SHIELD Hawkeye, Falcon, and Black Widow, the basic framework of the Avengers 6 is already there, but it is not enough. Scarlet Witch, Quicksilver, Ant-Man, all of which Nick Fury needs. Especially Scarlet Witch, that is a hero-level master who has mastered magic. Avengers, the science and technology side has Tony Stark, Dr. Banner, the spiritual leader has Steve Rogers, Natasha Romanoff, Hawkeye, Falcon are the direct descendants of SHIELD, and supervision is not a problem. The most lacking is the mysterious magician. On the way to the meeting, an emergency call came. Natasha Romanoff frowned, picked up the phone, and then his face changed drastically, with a solemn expression. Director Fury, it's not okay. Magneto is doing it again. Nick Fury's face suddenly changed. So fast? Natasha Romanoff nodded. It's not just fast. With yesterday's failure, this time he directly sent 2 capable men. One is Toad, and the other is Daganga. We sent to monitor Lee's 2 4s. Level agents, all killed. Damn it. Big Steel Teeth. As the director of SHIELD, Nick Fury knows mutant naturally. He clenched his fist and said solemnly, we made a mistake. No one expected Magneto to react so quickly. That little guy must be taken away. Natasha Romanoff. Exist. You rush to the scene immediately. I want to know the exact information. SHIELD's colleagues have rushed over. Agent Phil Coulson. At the conference table, a middle-aged man dressed in a suit and looking resolute responded with a solemn expression. This person is the 8th level agent of SHIELD Senior Agent Phil Coulson. You go to Scarlet Witch immediately. Yes. Natasha Romanoff said. Director Fury, this is not the right time. Scarlet Witch may not accept us. Nick Fury shook his head and said, Agent Normanova, don't you know the current situation? Magneto has captured Lee and already has enough chips. If we don't make a move, we will completely lose the opportunity to get Scarlet Witch. As Nick Fury spoke, Natasha Romanoff's phone kept vibrating. She answered the phone. SHIELD's colleagues have arrived at the scene. I thought the scene should be countless corpses, empty, but Well, there are indeed a few corpses, but they are not empty. That high school student is still there. The SHIELD agent, with a bewildered look, quickly dialed Natasha Romanoff's phone. She was the person in charge of this task. The phone was connected, and there was a quick report. Natasha Romanoff was also dumbfounded. When Nick Fury saw Natasha Romanoff answering the phone, he said to Phil Coulson, "Agent Phil Coulson, act now." Phil Coulson. "Yes, Mr. Director." Wait a minute." Natasha Romanoff hung up the phone and spoke at the same time, interrupting Nick Fury's deployment. Nick Fury frowned, and said with extreme displeasure, "Agent Normanova, I think what is going on now, I have already said very clearly." Natasha Romanoff said, "Yes, Director Fury." Nick Fury said, "Then what else do you have?" Natasha Romanoff said helplessly, "Toad and Da Gangfong failed to take the little guy away." Nick Fury glared at him and asked shockingly, "What's the situation? Could someone help?" "No, that. Only the little guy was there. He killed the big steel teeth and pulled Toad's tongue off." Hiss. In the meeting room, everyone had their eyes wide open, with an expression of seeing a ghost. All sounds stopped abruptly, and the atmosphere was extremely quiet. The needle drop can be heard.